we're in Power BI desktop at the moment. So, and don't forget when you want to bring in a file, what you have to do, like we've normally done, just go to get data. Now we are bringing in an Excel workbook. So we click on Excel workbook. From here, we can navigate to where we have the file. I have the file here. That is append queries is on what's it called? It's on E drive. Let me minimize something here, please. It's on E drive. So I'll just double click and either select it and click on open here, or you just double click on the file itself. So that should bring in the file to this navigator window. So from this navigator window, we have three worksheets, three worksheets in the file, and I want to bring the three worksheets, in the workbook. So like I said, it's better to do transform data rather than just load, immediately. So even if you are confident of your data, if you are confident of the data quality, I mean, you are quite sure that you don't need to do any transformation, but it's still best practice for you to just click on this transform button first, just to have a final look at it. So that opens the Power Query editor in Power BI. So now we have three queries here, three worksheets, but the moment it gets to Power BI, we no longer refer to it as worksheets, it's referred to as a query. So we have three queries here. If we check this left pane, we can see the three queries listed here. So I would love to also open it in Excel so that I can explain one or two things before we proceed with the transformation process. So let me go back to Excel. So this is the file in its original location. Okay, here we have it. So this is the file, this is the workbook. We have three worksheets, the corporate, the home office, and the consumer worksheets here. And if you look at this corporate uh, worksheet, this data sets carefully, we can see that there are seven columns of data here. Looking at this also, there are also seven columns of data, and the consumer worksheet also has seven columns of data. Like I said, the first thing we are going to talk about is the append process. And what append does really is this. Let me just create what's it called, a new worksheet. I'm going to delete it. Assuming you have a set of you have a data or a data set that looks like this. Assuming these are the columns, or let me just use this to explain so that now let's look at this carefully. We have seven rows of data. Then we might want to add more rows, to this. Here we have seven rows here. I'm not counting the header row with it. Because once it gets to Power BI, here it looks as if they are okay with the header row. There are seven rows, but once it gets to Power BI, this will be transformed to 6 rows of data, because this row will be promoted to header. So I'm just going to say we have 6 rows of data here. I'm not going to include this heading with it. So assuming we want to add more rows to this, there might be a situation that, okay, somebody sent you maybe your office has 3 different branches, and you receive data from the 3 branches, and the three this this is from corporate branch, this is from home office branch, and this from the consumer branch. And looking at it, they all have the same structure. Whatever the structure is, that they have the same heading. you know We have the order, ship mode, customer name, segment, category, quantity, and sales. Coming here is the same heading, you know. Coming here, then again, what's it called? Because I said it earlier that Power BI is case sensitive, you know. So if this is capital C and capital N, these two must be capital C and capital N. If this has capital C and small letter n, they are no longer the same. So because Power Query is very case sensitive. Power Query, I mean to say, is very, very case sensitive. So you, by them having the same structure means that they all have the same headers, header title. Let me put it that way. So that is the only that's the first condition under which you can append data. For you to be able to bring in the data here, as you want to join this data here, what you have there, these three rows here, you want to join it to here, or you want to join it with this data. You know, that is, we have the existing. Or let's say you even want to bring in the data from these two worksheets. You know, you want to append, let me use the right terminology now. I want to append the data here to what we have here already, you know, because like I said, it doesn't make sense where now you have what's it called, data from three different branches, and you want to analyze the data. You know, it's cumbersome for you to analyze this and this and this separately. You know, if you can just bring everything together at once and analyze the data at a go. So that's why the append transformation tool exists, just to bring in data, you know, to join data. And you join them, you are increasing the number of rows here, not the columns. When you append data, the number of rows increase. The number of columns in the final data set, let me put it that way, still remains the same, because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 columns in all. So at the end of the day, the number of columns will still be 7, but the number of rows will increase. So that is what we want to achieve, you know. And something I must say here again is that apart from you making sure that they have the same structure, and I explained what that means earlier, it means that they must have the same header names. Then it doesn't, I need to say, it doesn't matter it doesn't matter the order in which the headers appear. Now let's look at this, the corporate. Look at this segment here. Segment is the fourth column, is the name of the header, you know, in the first column to the last, 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth to the last. Let's check home office. It is fourth to the last. Let's check consumer, is third to the last, counting from the right-hand side. Let's look at the sales here. Sales in consumer, sales column is second to the last. You know, okay, counting from the left side rather, is second to the last. Counting from the left is second to the last here, the sales column. And here, it is the last column here. So we can see that they are positioned in different places. So it doesn't matter where they are positioned. They don't have to be in the same order. It doesn't have to be order, date, ship. I'm sure you understand what I'm trying to explain. They don't have to be in the same order. The only thing you need to be sure of, you need to be certain of, the only thing you need to take care of is that they must have they must have the same names, header names. And you must also take cognizance of the what's it called, the cases. You know, those are the two things we need to make sure that are equal or are the same, or those are the things we need to look out for before we proceed to append data. So with that much said, let's just go ahead and do it. Now, we are in Power Query now. You know, it's the same data, the same data set. We've already explained the source, navigation, promoted, and change type. So we are here now. Like I said, look at the consumer. You can see that it has promoted the header. Like I said earlier, this is the consumer. There were 10 rows here. Now, we now have, when it got to Power BI, we have 9 rows. Why? Because the first row here, has been promoted as the header row. It's now the it's now used as headers. I think that's the what's it called, the way Power Query puts it. Use first row as headers. It has used the first row as headers. So that's what has happened. And it has also done that in the other, what's it called, in the other queries as well. All the first rows have been promoted as headers. So now we want to append data. Now we can start from anywhere, really. You can start to, it depends on what you want, it depends on, but there is no hard and fast rule to this, since you want to have everything in the same, in the same data set, or in the same place. Let me put it that way. So you can choose that, okay, let this start and add the data from the other 2 queries, or you can actually let this, start and add the data from the other 2 queries. So it depends on what you want. And for me, it really doesn't matter as long as you have everything combined in the same table. So for the purpose of this practice, I'm just going to choose, let's say, corporate. Okay, I want corporate to start the table. So choosing this corporate, then when you come here, we have 2 options: merge query and append queries. Under home, you know, under home, under the home tab, we have 2 transformation processes here that look so similar, but they do different jobs. So this is append query. So when you click on this drop down, we have 2 options here. Is either you want to append query, or you want to append queries, or you want to append queries as new. So now there are the difference between these two is that when you choose append query, if you select append query, what this does is it just now you selected. Okay, let me just do that so that now if I choose append queries now what this will do is, okay, we have corporate now. It will take the data from now there are we have more than 2 tables. If you want to append just 2 tables, you select 2. If you want 3 or more tables, you select 3. Now, fine, this is corporate now. What this is showing current, because that is what we've selected. That is saying that that's the current. That's why we can see this current here in brackets in front of corporate. Now, what this does is that, don't forget, I chose append queries. Now, it will take the data from consumer and home office and append it to what we have here. It will append it to whatever we have under what's it called? Under the consumer data set. So it's going to start with the information in the under the corporate data set, I mean to say. It's going to start with the values, the data we have in the corporate data set, and add the data we have in the consumer and the home office data sets. That's what that will do. And at the end of the day, we'll just have 3 queries here, because what we are doing effectively is adding this. We have this. We are adding this and this to this. So let's just do that. So now look at, we have available. These are the available tables we have. And these tables we want to append. Now this has been chosen for us because we've already selected. We highlighted corporate here. That's why it's here. Now, if you want to add more tables to this to append to, you have to bring it from here, to here. And how do you do that? You want to bring corporate is here already, so we are not touching it. So you select corporate and you say add, you bring it here. Then you select home office, you say add, you click on add by bringing it here. So that's how you do it. And if in case you feel, oh, I don't want to add consumer again. I made a mistake. Just highlight it here and cancel it. Highlight this and cancel it. So it takes it back. So, and again, if I added them one after the other, you can equally add the two at a go. Just click on consumer, then hold down your control key, click on home office, then select the add button. It brings the two here at the same time. And you might choose to, okay, order it. If you want to bring this down, you want the information, the data in this to come before this, just select this and click on the arrow down. It swap the two, the two tables. So that's what happened. Swap the two queries. So you can select this and take it back up. So you can do all kind of manipulation here. It depends on what you want. So that's on how to everything you want to append must be here. Before you can do any append. Then once you have all your queries here, or all your tables as the case may be, just click on OK. You can see what you have now. So corporate. So how many tables do we have before we appended it? Looking at here from corporate, like I said, there are 6 rows here. Don't forget this will be promoted as headers when it gets to Power Query. So there are 6 rows here. There are 3 rows here as it will appear in Power Query, and there are 9 rows here as it will appear in Power Query. So 3, 6, and 9 is 18 if you add them together. So at the end of the day, after appending the data, you should have 18 rows. You can see 18 rows. Then remember what I said, it doesn't matter the order in which the column headers are arranged. It will find itself and arrange them properly. Remember that the sales here was seated, sales in consumer was second to the last, home was second to the last, and corporate was the last here. But after appending, there was no issue about that. It just rearranged everything. That he mapped everything together that we add everything that has to do with sales appearing under the sales column. So that is the power of merge. That's what merge can do. That is append. Don't forget, we chose append queries. That's what we did. Append queries. Now, let's do the other one, append queries as new. Now, like I did the last time, if you want to undo a process, now I've done this, I want to revert back to the way it was before. All I need, is just to cancel this, so, and everything returns to the way it was before. Look at corporate now. It has returned to the way. It's just like a way of undoing what you do. That's how to undo a processing. What's called in Power Query. Now let's look at append as append queries as new. Now let me start. I can start from consumer this time around. I've chosen consumer, the consumer query. Coming here, I'm choosing append query as new. The difference is that this will create a new query. Don't forget, when we did append query, it just appended the other 2 tables underneath what we had here in corporate. Now, append query as new, we create a new query here. So instead of having 3 queries at the end of the day, we are going to have 4 queries. Now, it's still the same process. We are appending. If you are only appending these 2, I just want to append these 2 and these 2 only. I will just choose 2 tables. It asks me which is the second table. Is corporate, or I want to append corporate. Just say okay. It will append it as new. See, that's created a new, what's it called? A new query now. That's what has happened now. But let's instead, I would have loved to append the 3, at the same time, but it's still, like I said, it's still the same process, but let's do it, this is append 1. Let's start from home office this time around. Now, let's choose append query as new. We are here, three or more tables, it's starting from home. Now, you can see that it has added append one because append one is now a query here. It's seen it as a new table. So I'm not going to append, I'm not going to add append one to it. I'm only going to append what's it called, the tables from corporate query and from consumer queries. Yeah. Let me do add. So we have these three here. Don't forget, if you had mistakenly added this, to it, you can just come. Oh, that was a mistake. Just come here and take it out. So we have these three here at the moment. So once we click on append, it will create a new query append 2. It cannot give two queries the same name. So that's why this append 1, append 2. Don't forget, like we had previously, there are 18 rows of data, just like we had when we did append query alone. It is the same result, but it's the process through which the result is gotten is different. In the first case, you don't want to create a new table, that has all the three queries combined, or you don't want to create a new query that has all the three tables combined. That's the first one. Let me just take this away. I don't need this append one. You can delete a query from here. The append, this is where I appended just two queries. The first one was the first append that we did. Don't forget, if you don't select a table, if you don't select a query, it will not highlight the option for you to append. So you must start with a table. If you just assuming I don't have anything selected. Okay, I'm trying to unselect. Okay, trying to unselect the table now. Okay. I'm trying to unselect a table. The table is already selected. Okay. Let me click on another post and see if I'm able to unselect a table. No. I'm trying to unselect a query.
If you click on that, just that empty.
Empty.
Would
No,
it
I've been
not?
doing that. I've been doing that. It's not.
You've been doing, okay.
It's not unselecting. I'm just okay. What do I do? What do I do? I'm just trying to
Maybe you close and apply and come back.
Okay. Let me cancel this. Close and apply with load whatever you have, to a platform, in this case to Power BI desktop. So that is what is happening. It's loading everything. I know we haven't done that in class yet, because everything we've been doing is just centered around Power Query, So it's loading everything. Okay. So from Power Query, from Power BI desktop, you can actually go back to your Power Query by just coming to transform data. When you click on transform data, or this ribbon, then you click on transform data, it will take you back to your Power Query editor. So, come on, it's still selected consumer. Why? Okay, let me do something. What I did the other time, let me just try and append something as new. I think, let me do something. These are just two tables. Okay. Then the moment I deleted this, okay, none is selected. So now we don't have any queries selected at the moment now. So look at this, look at here. It's grayed out, Append queries is grayed, so you can't append query. So you have to start by selecting a query. Then you have this one, on grayed out, So you can now proceed with your append query. So today, don't forget we did append query, and we append queries normally. When I said normally, I meant without creating a new query. We just appended the existing the queries, and we also appended queries as new. So I think that's all we'll be doing today. I don't know if anyone has any question, addition, subtraction.